We begin the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga. Although it can be said that every single word of Bhagavad Gita and every single verse of Bhagavad Gita is very important, this second chapter is considered to be the most important for this time and era, because within this chapter, the individual unit of consciousness, the Atma, the soul, is uncovered in great detail. You will not find in any other scripture of the world such detail and knowledge about the individual unit of consciousness as you will find in this second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So it is very, very, very important to understand this. It is actually the ABCs of spiritual life from which one can move further on and make very much spiritual advancement by knowing this. Unfortunately, in the world today, although this is the most fundamental, basic spiritual knowledge, it is not taught in any of the major religions of the world. Only will you find this information in Bhagavad Gita. But if taken and applied, then very, very quickly one will make spiritual progress. So one's foundation must be very, very solid. And just like a mathematical equation, if in the beginning you get the first part, 2 plus 2, wrong, if you get that 2 plus 2 equals 5, then of course all the way down the line the equation will be wrong. So similarly, if you do not understand the individual unit of consciousness, the Atma or the soul, then all of your spiritual knowledge will be defective and it will not actually add up to anything correct. So please pay attention to this second chapter. It is very, very important to understand. I remember when I was in grammar school, I went to St. Paul's Catholic School in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, and I remember one time I asked one of the good nuns, I believe it was Sister Mary Claire, if memory serves well, to tell me what the soul was, to explain what the soul looked like. And she told me the soul was like a white sheet, and every time you committed a sin, it was like throwing black ink on that white sheet. So that is the Christian concept that I grew up with, that the soul is more or less like a record. And although it is true, when one leaves their body, they must go before a saint called Chitragupta, who has a record of all our past, our good deeds and our bad deeds. The soul is not a record. The soul is who we are, is the self. We are not humans with a soul, but we are souls with the human form at this time. And this human form affords us the ability to know who we are, to know who Krishna is, and to engage in his service. So please, I humbly beg you to take this second chapter very seriously and try to understand what Krishna is teaching here. So we offer humble salutations and homage to our gurus before beginning. Chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, verse 1. Sanjaya uvacha tam tata kripya vistam ashupurnak Kulekshyanam Vishtantamidam Vakyam Uvacha Madhusudana. Sanjaya said, Sri Krishna then spoke the following words to Arjuna, whose heart was overwhelmed with pity and whose eyes were filled with tears. Verse 2. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva kasmalam idam vishame samupastitam anarya justam asvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, Arjuna, how has such illusion overcome you at this crucial moment? This is not appropriate for an honorable man, nor does it lead to higher planets. It is the cause of infamy. Verse 3. Klavyam asmagama parta naita tvai upapadyate kudram hridaya durbayam chaktpotista parantapa. O Partha, give up this unmanliness. It does not befit you. O chastiser of enemies, get up and do not yield to this petty weakness of heart. Verse 4. Arjuna uvacha katam bhishmam maham sankhe dromam cha madhusudana isubi pratiyochyami puraha varisudana. Arjuna replied, How can I counteract such persons as Bhishma and Drona in battle? firing arrows at those who are worthy of my respect, O Madhusudana? Verse 5. Guruna hatvahi mahanubhavan Shreyo bhoktam bhaksham apiha loke Hatvarta kamatstu gurun ihaiva Bunjiya bhogan rudira pradigdan. It is better to live in this world by begging than killing our respectable superiors. Otherwise, the wealth and property that we enjoy here in this world will be tainted with their blood. Na kaitad bhima katarano gariyo yadva jayema yadivano jayeohu yaneva hatwana jijivitsamas tevasita pramuke dartarastra. I do not know what is better for us, to conquer them or be conquered by them. If we slay the sons of Dhritarashtra who are assembled here before us, I have no desire to live. Verse 7. Karpanya dasopata svabhavaha prejame tvam dharma samudachate yatreya hashan isitam bruhetan me Shishyasti hamsa bimam tvam prapanam. My natural propensity as a warrior is weakening, and I am bewildered as to what is righteousness. Kindly tell me what is most beneficial for me. I am your disciple, surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Srila Bhakti Gaura Narasimha Maharaj did not give an Anuvriti commentary on this particular verse, but his guru, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, gave a rather long one, and I'm going to read the first paragraph of his purport because it's very, very important. So this is Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's purport to verse 7. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life which happen without our desire. They are like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not, therefore, remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. That was Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And I will add a little something here also. If we look and analyze animal life, then we can see that every animal engages in 4 activities. They eat, they sleep, they mate, and they defend. You just watch your dog sometime. Watch how he defends his property. Somebody comes on, he begins to bark. And then he loves to eat. He loves to sleep. And he loves to mate. So the human in the human form, although we engage in these activities, we have the propensity to understand who we are, what we're doing in this world, and develop a relationship with the Supreme Person. The animals have not that ability. They do not have that ability. So if we live in this life simply like animals, then the human form of life is wasted, and the perplexities of life and the real problem of life, that is birth, death, old age, and disease, will not be solved. Modern man is very proud of his accomplishments, and it is true. We've accomplished much through the years, and we live in a wonderful age of technology and advancement. But if you analyze all the technology and advancement, it simply facilitates more of the animal propensities, that is, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. When Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada came to America from Vrindavan, and he looked in New York City and he made comments like, these buildings are so big and they're so grand and they're so wonderful, the technology is so wonderful, they go so high up in the sky, and although they're very, very thin, the walls are very thin, they're very, very strong, and it's simply amazing. But what goes on inside these buildings? The same thing that goes on in animal life. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So this is what the technology is being used for. When you turn on media, television, or in the movies, and advertisements on the internet, it's a constant barrage of messaging to inspire you to eat more, to sleep more, to mate more, and to defend more. Just do an internet search and see. Talking about eating, here's a really good one. Cool sculpturing was approved by the FDA as a proven method for the removal of fat cells. The treatment helps remove the resistant fat cells that don't melt through diet or exercise. So if you're frustrated that your diet or regular gym sessions aren't helping you, cool sculpturing is the technological solution you need. Here's one I found for sleeping. You can buy one bed. It's called the Starry Night Sleep Technology Bed. A more technological approach. A bed designed to be the architect of modern sleep, a combination between modern technology and a comfortable bed to create the perfect sleep environment. It comes with anti-snore technology, temperature control on both sides, and a sleep diagnostic center for monitoring body movements and breathing patterns. And since today, connectivity is the name of the game, the bed comes with an iPod docking station allowing its sleepers to connect to the internet. In addition to that, there's a video projector that can transform the ceiling into a sky full of stars and even cinema screen. The price for this high-tech bed is only $50,000. And these beds go up to, actually, as research, you can buy a bed for $6 million to sleep in. When you go to sleep, you won't even know you're in the bed. And then, of course, there's sex life. You know, the technology for that is through the roof. Everything from contraceptives to Viagra to abortion, so simple you can go in and go out as easy as going and getting your hair cut. So by this, one can engage in unrestricted sex life with zero responsibility. And then there's defending. Now there's technology all the way to the moon. We have lasers, we have smart bombs. Recently, President Trump was talking about this new technology that's so great, he doesn't want to reveal what it is. He wants to keep it a secret. Doesn't want the enemy to get a hold of it. We have the best defense possible, the most highly technological defense that anybody can imagine. Later on in this Bhagavad Gita, it is explained why the living entity gets a particular type of body. The human form is meant for self-realization, God-realization, understanding who we are in our relationship with God. When one finds a bona fide spiritual master, then all this knowledge can be imparted to him. And then the real goal of life can be attained. But if we're not interested in self-realization and we're only interested in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, then material nature is arranged in such a way to give us a body to facilitate those needs. We don't need the human form for that. We have a cat in the ashram named Son of Scarface, and Son of Scarface, he can sleep anywhere. He doesn't need no $50,000 bed. He's happy to sleep all over the ashram. So if we're very attached to sleep, so much so that we're willing to buy, beds, such luxury beds, then easier to get a body of a cat. And then you can sleep anywhere very comfortably without much endeavor. And eating, how much can one eat, huh? Go through so much trouble to eat so much, then you have to use technology to lose the weight. Better you get a body of a pig. A pig can eat all day long. No problem. You want to eat from a bucket? Get a horse body. And as far as sex life, well, I think nobody has better sex life than monkeys. Monkeys can have sex all day long. In the human form, how many times can you have sex, huh? And then to avoid the consequences of having unrestricted sex, one has to go and get abortions, use all kinds of contraceptives and all kinds of devices, all types of technology simply to avoid the real purpose of sex life, that is to have decent human population. It'll be a lot easier just to get the body of a monkey, then you don't have that responsibility and all the problems that go along with avoiding it. I know some people like these ideas. Well, be careful what you wish for. Hari bol, hari bol, hari bol.